got the right slide here. You guys, it's so humbling to be here to present among people like Sherry Burton, and Jessica Moultrie, and the panel was phenomenal. And I'm just hoping that my intent today is to really inspire you guys and help you launch new leaders. So I want to kind of get a feel for my audience here. How many of you know how to totally launch a new leader? Raise your hand. Totally confident. Okay, we've got 1, 2. Anybody else feel totally confident in launching a new leader? You guys are platinums and diamonds, right? Okay, well let me just tell you that I'm in the same boat with you. I learned about 3 months ago. Isn't that awesome? I called Joy Horseman, who's on my team. Where are you, Joy? And I called her the other day and I'm like, guess what? I'm presenting on launching new leaders. And guess what? I'm so glad because I just learned. I was like, I just learned how to launch a new leader. And so I'm so excited to share this content. And she was like, me too. She just hit diamond, by the way. Can I just give a shout out? So, I think the most important thing, did everybody get to watch Heather Matter yesterday? Okay. In the beginning, when a lot of us started, a lot of us even now that are diamonds, we didn't really have total systems, right? We didn't have a launch your new builder checklist or launch your new customer checklist. I just came out with one like 3 months ago. So I have one now. And since I've done this, since I've learned and I've gotten better and better and better at launching new leaders, I came up with a system. And what I learned is, and I learned through mistake, and there's builders that I've brought through, and I feel like I've failed some of them, and I have this guilt for not launching them correctly, because if I just would have launched them correctly, what could have happened? Where could they be, right? And some of these other leaders that I've launched, I didn't have systems. And so I went in, and I was afraid kind of to launch a new high-level leader because it's been so long since I launched a frontline, right? So I decided at Blue Diamond Summit that I was gonna start launching new frontline leaders. And I was gonna put them in my organization wherever I needed them. I was waiting. I was like, I'm gonna wait. Does anybody think that's a smart idea to just wait to launch a really great new leader? Has anybody thought, I'm gonna wait? Anybody? Am I the only one that's like, I'm gonna wait to attract a really great new builder? Really? Okay, so you guys hear what I'm saying, right? So I was like, I'm gonna wait until I'm solid over here before I try to find a new frontline leader. Bad mistake, okay? So I was at Blue Diamond Summit, and I was sitting there listening to Elise Shudeby and Haley House and a few of these people that have gone pretty far, right? And they talked about recruiting. And they talked about how they never stop, and it doesn't matter if they recruit a frontline leader, they're gonna put them wherever they need support in the organization. So when I heard that in January, I launched 7 new builders in the month of January. Now, I didn't put them all in my front line, okay? But what I did was I launched them in a couple different teams. And then I also launched a team last summer that I'm relaunching that I have a new leader in that position, and I'm doing it differently. So I'm going to show you how I'm doing it and how I'm getting great results with doing that. So one of the first things that I think is really important, the very first thing that I do when one of my frontline, even my diamonds and my platinums, or possibly silvers, I go clear down to silvers if they don't have upline support, is I do a 3-way call. It's the very first step. And so that's on my checklist, that as soon as you bring on a powerful leader, I do a 3-way call, okay, with that leader. So if you're launching a new leader, you're gonna be that diamond that does the 3-way call, okay? So you've got your silvers, maybe some gold, maybe even some platinums under you. They're still going to bring them to you until they're at least a diamond, and even in some cases, diamonds are going to get their frontline leaders on the phone with their upline presidential or blue. Because this edification process is really, really powerful. It's something Elise Shudeby taught us a few years ago, and it was really powerful for me to bring to my team. So as you bring on that first leader, you want to have a very effective 3-way call. So you want to, first of all, have your leader edify you prior to the call. So they're gonna say, so if I was my frontline leader, I would say, Sally, I'm so excited that you are interested in doing this business. I want you to talk to the person that brought me into this business. Her name's Melody Watts, and she's really come a long way in this business. Let me tell you what she's done. And she's gonna talk about maybe some of the things that I've done, and she's gonna make me look like a really awesome expert. That's her job, okay? And she's gonna leave all the garbage behind, right? She's gonna talk about the good. And then I'm gonna get on the phone with this new leader who thinks that I'm awesome, right? And I'm going to say, introduce them, and I'm going to build trust. And I'm going to create a relationship, and I'm going to ask them a series of questions. And the series of questions I'm actually going to be uploading to the Platinum page and to the Diamond page, for those of you who don't have it, but it's called 10 Steps to an Effective Three-Way Call. And I go through this 10-step process with every new leader that my leaders bring on, and I also go through this 10-step process with my brand new builders that I'm starting with. My brand new builders, I'm also doing it with their brand new builders, okay? So this three-way call is really important because this is where you discover who they are and how doTERRA becomes a solution for them, okay? Because we are problem solvers. When we go in, we're solutions providers with the oils, right? When we brainstorm and troubleshoot with their health ailments and health challenges, we also want to do that with the business. We want to find out and we want to meet their need. So this is where this three-way call is so important, because you find out what their need is, and you actually ask them they actually answer their own questions as to why doTERRA is a solution for them. So they get off the phone, and oftentimes that frontline leader is blown away by the answers that they hear, because they had no clue what a solution or what a powerful solution this would be for their leader. Okay, so this was really, really powerful for me. And as we start doing this, you build that relationship of trust. Now, when you get off the phone, what do? Excuse me. You edify that leader. So I'm going to get off the phone and I'm going to say, Sally, you are so lucky to be working with Joy. Because let me tell you, she's a powerhouse. She's so authentic, and she's such an incredible leader. In fact, she's my favorite diamond on my whole team. And I'll say that to everybody. You know you're my favorite. We don't have favorites. We love all our children the same, right? Some of them just teach us harder lessons. Okay, so the next thing I do is I go through a why exercise, okay? So I'm going to go through and I'm going to say, tell me about your day. Tell me about what you do in a day. I'm going to go through this why exercise because I want to help you find a deep why in doTERRA. And this is going to help me understand what your hopes and dreams are. This is going to help me understand what your core values are and what your gifts are. Because if I can understand that, we can help you lead in this business with your core values and gifts. They get so excited when we tell them that. We go, you get to lead in this business being you. I can't tell you how excited people get when I tell them that. I say, now let's do this exercise because it's all about them. Tell me what you do in a day, and I have them write down. Who has done this why exercise at the Wellness Summits? It's really powerful. Do it with every one of your leaders, okay? So we go through and we ask, what do you do in a day? And they're going to write down all the things they do. Oh, I do the dishes, I go for a run, I get the kids off to school, I check emails, I brush my teeth, I do my personal development, I take the dog for a walk, I do all this, all these things. Maybe they're still going to their 9-to-5 job, right? Because they're just starting out. I teach, I do this, and whatever. I fundraise for the baseball team, blah, 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 whatever their things are. And then I'm going to go, okay, now I want you to draw another arch, and I want you to tell me everything that you would be doing if time and money were not an issue. Okay? Because how often does time and money become a problem for people? Having clarity with what their vision is. So I'm going to say, if time and money were not an option, what would you be doing? And I want you to write down everything that you'd be doing. And then they write down, oh gosh, I'd be doing this, I'd be vacationing more, I'd be traveling more. Oh, I'd probably be exercising more, and I've really wanted to get into this, I've wanted to develop this talent, and they're going to tell you everything, all their hopes and dreams, that if time and money were not an issue, what they would do. This is really key. Then you're going to draw another arch, and you're going to say, okay, tell me why. Tell me why you want to spend more time with your family. Man, I just love to bond. I just love to bond with them and create memories and have great relationships. So then one of their core values and also gifts is bonding. And it's the same gift and core value that draws people to them. Have you ever seen one of your leaders where they're so good at relationships, like people just want to be around and they just attract people like a human magnet? That's how you know that that gift is bonding, and that's what's going to bring people to them. So when they have a clear idea of what their gifts are, they can go through with total confidence. They can go start this business with confidence, saying, yeah, these are what my gifts are, this is what I do good, and they know now how to draw people into them, and they know, and when they have that clear communication, it's just like cell receptor sites. I don't know, that just popped into my head. So with the essential oils, what do? they increase communication between cell receptor sites. So what happens is when you tell somebody what their gifts are, and they know what they are, they recognize them, and then a light bulb goes off, and all of a sudden they are attracting like-minded people straight to them that they can serve. So I love what Sherry Burton said about she attracts suicidal bipolar people into her organization. I laughed so hard because I was just telling my husband this, actually my sister, I was just telling my sister this. I said, this is the weirdest thing. I attract a lot of divorced single moms into my organization. Or, right when they join my organization, they get divorced. What's wrong with me? I was like, what am I doing? Am I hurting people? Am I breaking up families? And I was freaking out. And then I was like, okay, I know what it is. When I started this business, I was a divorced single mom. And guess what? I empowered myself. And doTERRA, literally, this business literally saved my life and healed me. It turned me into who I was born to be. And so, as some of these women that come to me, not all of them are divorced single moms. I have lots of happily married people. Probably 90% of my team is happily married. But lately, I've just been attracting a lot of single moms or people getting divorced. And they have said to me, because I saw you do this, it totally empowered me. I didn't know that I could do it. And what happens when somebody's mind changes? Does anybody remember what happened with the 4-minute mile? Nobody could do the 4-minute mile, right? Nobody could do it. And then the first day the guy did it, who knows his name? Who's the runners in here? You guys know it? Okay. After that, everybody started breaking the 4-minute mile because their mind changed. So Tony Robbins says before every new breakthrough becomes a change in belief. So as you attract people to you based on your healing journey in doTERRA, like Sherry Burton said, the exact lessons you've learned and the people that you interact with is the reason you succeed in this business. So I'm going to give you one more short story before I move on to step 3. When I started this business and I didn't think I was going to tell this story, but I feel like if you don't know the struggle, then it can be hard to relate. And I want you guys to really relate to struggle because one of the things we're going to talk about is teaching your leaders how to cope with stress. How many people here have had stress? Do you guys know that stress comes from fear? And that fear and faith cannot exist in the same place at the same time. So, I can tell you right now, I've had a lot of fear in my life. A lot. Okay? I've had panic attacks before. But I can also tell you that faith has gotten me through it every time. Faith in my purpose and God's love for me and how I can help others. So when I first started this business, right when I first started, it was the middle of the real estate meltdown. It was the aftermath. So the real estate meltdown was 2008, right? I had overstated my income on a home loan. And my husband at the time had also overstated his income. He talked me into basically taking the fall for our legal troubles because we actually got in trouble with the FBI, the feds. Who thinks that's scary? It's a little scary. I went into frozen mode. I was nursing my 9-month-old when they knocked on my door. And I was like one of those moms that just wanted to be a stay-at-home mom, did not want to do it. Not that just being a stay-at-home mom is bad. That's all I wanted to do, okay? Because I saw my mom do it, and I had the perfect childhood, and I wanted to have that same experience for my children. And so I didn't really like working outside the home. I didn't really like working, and so, but God had a different plan for me to need when I found doTERRA. And it empowered me to be a better mom, and I'll talk about that later if I have time. But what happened is they told me I was going to go to prison for overstating my income on a home loan. And I was devastated. And they told me, you might get house arrest, you might get probation, or you might get prison. And I went to an attorney, and my attorney said, now you're not getting divorced, right? Because we've kind of worked out this plan where your husband can keep his job if you take the fall. Okay, your husband can keep his job, he can keep his real estate license, which at the time we were transitioning all my real estate listings over to my husband so that he could then be the breadwinner and I could stay home with the babies. This was our plan. Well, it turned out the judge didn't give me house arrest. He didn't give me probation. He gave me 15 months in a federal prison. And I ended up going to California in a federal prison for 7.5 months. I did a halfway house for 5 months, and I did 3 months on house arrest. And when I was taken from my 2-year-old and my 5-year-old, it was the most devastating time in my entire life. That same day, my husband told me he was leaving me. And he said, "Oh, this has nothing to do with you. You're a good person. I just don't think we're right for each other." And I was like, "Could you wait till I get home? Maybe we could talk about it." Nope. So what ended up happening was, I went, I learned a lot of things, walking the track for hours and hours and hours and praying, figuring what I did so wrong, that I was such a bad person, that I was sitting here in prison, why I wasn't a good enough wife to keep my husband. And a miraculous thing happened. Every loss that you go through, I truly believe this, can turn into your gain. Okay? And I truly believe that the gain can be higher. When Sherry Burton talked about leverage, can be much higher than your sadness or much higher than your struggle if you are faithful in the process and not fearful. Because fearful can take you down, right? So I chose to have faith and I chose to have strength and I relied on my God for that. When I got out, a few short months later, my mom died in a car accident. And it was also a devastating time for me. A month later, I decided that my children did not need a mom that went to job 9 to 5. I said, they need me here, and so I decided to start my doTERRA business. And I had a big why, but I was in the midst of struggle, wasn't I? So we have to teach our people coping skills. So that's gonna be one of the things we talk about. Okay, so the next thing we do, Alicia taught me this, branding. This is one of the key things that helped me with people, because the first thing that people have trouble with sometimes is speaking. What am I gonna say to people? How am I gonna talk to them? So we train on how are you gonna talk? How are you gonna brand yourself? How are you gonna make sure that they want to join with you? How are you gonna come across confidently as a product trainer and a business mentor? And so this branding, again, I can upload this into the diamond page so you guys have access to this and the platinum page. But this branding exercise is phenomenal. And if anybody has not had a chance to watch that branding video by Alicia Levy, I highly recommend you do it because it was a big game changer for us. Okay. Leaders take action. So after we've done the why exercise, the 3-way call and the branding session, I give them action steps. And if they're a true leader, they're going to take action steps. So we talk about systems and your list of 100, right? But let's not forget what Heather Matter talked about yesterday. What fuels this business is you and the way that you inspire, okay, and the love that you have for your downline. So don't forget that as we go through these action steps, okay? So have them set a 30-day non-negotiable goal for rank, maybe it's a certain number of enrollments, whatever it is, let them set that. Have them create their list of 100 and separate that out, and have them schedule their first 4 classes. Give them sales training, okay? This is so important. You have to give them sales training because we are salespeople, okay? Some people think it's a gross word, but call it solutions provider if you don't like the word sales, okay? But they need some sort of training. I give them Tiffany Peterson Sales Mastery. Every one of my frontline builders gets Tiffany Peterson Sales Mastery because it's very heart-based, it's very authentic. I help them get on personal development things, okay? And I also teach them stress coping strategies. So I had a call with one of my new teams the other day, and I had gone to East Coast Leadership, and I came back, and it had been about a week, maybe a week and a half since I talked to this team. And one of them cleans my house, one of the gals in this team cleans my house, and the other one's a neighbor, and she's getting, again, divorced, and so is the girl that cleans my house. And they decided it's finally time for them to start a doTERRA business. And we got on the phone and I said, hey team, I know it's been a while, we haven't talked in a week and a half, but I really want to know what your wins are, what your struggles are. And we went around, we talked about, and there was about 5 of us on the call, just a brand new team. And one of them said, oh, I think my kids hate me and they don't want me to succeed. And I said, oh no, why? Every time I go to do something, they need something. You know, every time they make me feel bad about it, or they just starts telling me all these things your kids do, and I go, oh, you know, the same thing happened to me this morning. I was taking my daughter to school, I let her sleep in. I took her to school, she didn't want to go, like she doesn't want to go every morning, and it sucked the sucking life out of me. Listening to her be like, Mom, but I don't want to go, I don't have to go, but I don't feel good, every day, okay? Now, my daughter's going through some stress of her own, so I understand that I'm helping her have strategies as well. But bottom line is, it sucked the life out of me because I felt so bad for her. And I came home and I told my husband, I said, I have a big day, I have a lot of calls. And my daughter just completely sucked the stuffing life out of me. And he gave me a pep talk, and I was back on my way, okay? So I said, so listen, sometimes our kids are gonna need us. But guess what? If we're gonna show up as a boss or an entrepreneur, we have to learn how to cope differently. So let's have a pep talk, and let's get you back out there. And the next day she was on fire. She just needed to hear that somebody else had been through it. She just needed that. So team calls, the next thing we're gonna talk about is team calls and connection. I like to cluster team builds. When I'm launching a new team, I'm gonna enroll a bunch of builders and I'm gonna put them all underneath each other in a structure. I'm usually gonna go 1, 2, 3, and then they'll have another builder, and then I might put another builder under them. So if I enroll 5, they're gonna be 1, I'm gonna go 2 here, I'm gonna do 3 here, they're gonna enroll their own builder here, and I'm gonna put maybe 2 under there. Okay, so we've got a really strong momentum going. I think it's really important to launch a team like that. I'm gonna create a community right away. I'm gonna do team calls once a week, and then I like to do delegation and action steps on those team calls. So we're gonna get on the call, we're gonna talk about setting up classes, we're gonna talk about what they need support in, if they still need help inviting, if they need help presenting, whatever it is they need help with, we're gonna talk about on that call that day, okay? Then I'm gonna delegate. The top team leader, I'm gonna say, hey, I would like you to start texting your frontline leaders, okay, twice a day. Once in the morning, once at night. And I just want you to check in with them, and I'm gonna do the same with you. So we started doing that. I just hired a business coach to help us bring on a new employee. She helped us launch this new employee, and she said, employee retention. If you want good employee retention, you have to have a great new employee experience. And so she showed us how to onboard a new employee. So continued connection is gonna be really big, because your new leader experience is gonna equal the retention of that leader to stay motivated. I needed this. I needed my upline to keep me motivated, because until I had the belief myself, I needed her to believe in me. So you're gonna have to believe in your people more than they believe in themselves. And believing in them can be hard, because you can be like, well, man, I was so motivated. Well, maybe not. What did your leader do to help keep you motivated, right? So I made that mistake with a couple new leaders that I started. I'm like, well, gosh, if they want it, they'll go out and get it. Guess what? They needed more accountability. So I made a mistake a few times, not keeping them accountable. So this is super important. So I'm checking in the morning. You can do it at 10 a.m., at 10 p.m. You can do it at 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. I generally do it about noon and 7, okay? But just connect with them twice a day. I then like to give them an email sequence. I think at this rank of Platinum and Diamond, you should be having some sort of streamlined education process. So make sure that they're getting an email sequence on training and on chemistry, co-impact sourcing, on comp plan, and they're getting it in a systematic way. So that might be every 5 days, they're getting a new set of training that they can work through, okay? And make sure they're still remembering their why as they go through that. So that's my sequence. I send information on chemistry, co-impact sourcing, the comp plan, sharing and inviting, and review of their why. The reason I only send the skill set of sharing and inviting is because that's all I'm focused on right now in the beginning. So then we're gonna build momentum. We're gonna plan classes together. We're gonna brainstorm marketing every single month. We're gonna talk about promos. I'm gonna pour into them and give them promos. And we're gonna do launch parties every single month. And we're gonna make sure that they bring people. We're gonna bring food, and we're gonna have tons of fun. Okay, so I think building momentum and having these every single month is absolutely, at this rank of Diamond and Platinum, you've gotta be doing it. I don't care if there's 3 people at your launch training or if there's 20 people or 100 people, you've gotta have your launch parties, okay? Now, this is just to wrap it up. This is my new builder checklist, so if you want to review, I do a 3-way call, we do a why exercise, get them in some sort of a sales training, get your team training set up weekly, just with that team, okay? Even if they're under somebody else, bring the leader on board as well, that upline silver or diamond if you're taprooting a new team. Continued connection. So checking in 10 to 10 every day. How's your day? How can I support you? How did that wellness consult go? How did inviting go today? Okay, and that way you're anytime they're feeling disheartened or they have an objection, you're there to support them. And then momentum and events. So hopefully this helps you guys have a really clear idea of how to launch a new team. I hope that was helpful. And thank you guys for letting me be here today.